I said, "You're just like your deadbeat father, useless during a fight. Now he's gone for good." I'm standing in our kitchen on a Friday evening, wine glass in hand, watching Michael meticulously chop vegetables for dinner. The steady rhythm of his knife against the cutting board is somehow grating on my nerves. "Could you possibly cut those any slower?" I say, taking another sip from my already half empty glass. Michael glances up, his expression neutral. I'm being careful. Don't want to cut myself. I roll my eyes and think, God, he's so methodical about everything. Where's the passion? Our friends Jenna and Kyle are always posting Instagram stories of their spontaneous weekend getaways and fancy dinner dates. Meanwhile, my husband is here, precisely dicing bell peppers like it's a science experiment. "Dinner will be ready in about 30 minutes, Michael says, wiping his hands on a kitchen towel. "Whatever. I'll be in the living room." I plop down on our couch, scrolling through social media. My college friend Alyssa just got promoted at her marketing firm. Kyle surprised Jenna with tickets to Hawaii. And what am I doing? Watching my husband cook the same chicken stir fry he makes every other Friday. Michael and I met 6 years ago at a mutual friend's birthday party. He was stable, responsible, and attentive, everything my ex wasn't. After years of dating emotionally unavailable men, Michael felt like a safe harbor. We married when I was 28 and he was 31, and for a while things were good, but lately I've been wondering if I settled too soon. I'm gulping down the last of my wine when Michael calls from the kitchen. "Dinner's ready, Liv." At the dinner table, I'm pushing food around my plate, barely listening as Michael talks about his day at work. He's an architectural engineer, stable job, good benefits, predictable income. Boring. So then Jim suggested we revise the structural supports for the... God, Michael, do you ever talk about anything interesting? The words escape before I can stop them. He pauses, fork midway to his mouth. What? Nothing, I mutter, reaching for the wine bottle. Just nothing ever happens with you. Same job, same routine, same stories. "I thought you liked stability," he says quietly. "I think I do, but I also like excitement, adventure, something to make my heart race." But I don't say this aloud. Instead, I pour more wine and change the subject. Later that night, I'm scrolling through Instagram in bed while Michael reads one of his dense history books. I come across a photo of my ex Jake at some rooftop bar in Chicago. He's tan, smiling, surrounded by beautiful people. "Jake's in Chicago now," I say, not looking up from my phone. Michael responds, turning a page. "He looks good, living it up as usual." Michael lowers his book slightly. "Is there a reason you're telling me this?" I shrug. "Just making conversation." But I'm thinking, Jake would never spend Friday night reading a book about World War II. He'd be taking me dancing or to some exclusive club. I don't mention that Jake also cheated on me twice and borrowed $3,000 he never repaid. "I think I'm going to meet Jenna for brunch tomorrow," I say. "Okay, I was hoping we could look at those paint samples for the guest room." I sigh dramatically. "The guest room can wait, Michael. It's been the same color for 5 years. You were the one who said you wanted to redecorate," he points out. "Well, maybe I changed my mind," I snap, feeling irrationally annoyed. "Not everything has to be planned weeks in advance, you know." Michael returns to his book without responding. This is his pattern, retreating rather than engaging when I get snippy. Sometimes I wish he'd fight back more, give me something to push against. His calm rationality makes me feel like the unreasonable one, which only irritates me further. The next morning, I'm sitting across from Jenna at our favorite brunch spot, nursing a mimosa and a pounding headache. "So then Michael gets all quiet like he always does," I say, recounting last night's non-argument. "He never wants to have a real conversation about anything." Jenna stirs her coffee thoughtfully. "Have you tried telling him how you feel without, attacking him?" I roll my eyes. "I'm not attacking him. I'm just being honest." "There's honest, and then there's harsh, Liv. What exactly did you say to him?" I wave my hand dismissively. "Just that his life is predictable," which it is. When was the last time he suggested something spontaneous? "Didn't he plan that surprise weekend in Vermont for your anniversary?" Jenna asks. "That was 2 years ago," I say, though the memory makes me squirm slightly. It had been a perfect weekend, a charming bed and breakfast, hiking in the mountains, wine tasting at local vineyards. Michael had planned every detail. Kyle and I had dinner with you guys last month, Jenna continues, and Michael mentioned wanting to take a cooking class together. You said you were too busy. I take a large gulp of my mimosa. That's different. A cooking class isn't exactly skydiving. Not everyone's idea of excitement is the same, Jenna says gently. And Kyle says Michael's been working really hard on that downtown project. Maybe he's just tired. I think, great, now she's defending him. What happened to girlfriends sticking together? But I just shrug and change the subject to Jenna's upcoming vacation. By the time I get home, it's mid-afternoon and my mood hasn't improved. I find Michael in the backyard, weeding the garden beds. How was brunch? He asks, standing up and wiping sweat from his brow. Fine, I reply, noticing how his t-shirt clings to his chest. Michael's always been attractive in an understated way, tall, with warm brown eyes and strong hands. Not flashy, but handsome. Jenna and Kyle are going to Hawaii next month. That sounds nice. Maybe we could plan something for the fall? Right, because we have to plan everything months in advance, I say, the sarcasm evident in my voice. Michael sighs. Liv, what's going on with you lately? You've been on edge for weeks. Nothing's going on, I snap. Maybe I'm just bored with our routine life. What would make you not bored? He asks, and I hate the genuine concern in his voice. It makes me feel small and petty. I don't know, I say, turning to go inside. Something different. Anything. That evening, we're invited to a dinner party at Kyle and Jenna's. I'm standing in our bathroom, applying makeup, when Michael appears in the doorway. The Uber will be here in 15 minutes, he says. Just a heads up. I know, Michael. I'm not a child. I think, why does he always have to micromanage everything? I didn't say you were, he replies calmly. Just letting you know. At the dinner party, I'm 3 glasses of wine in and feeling increasingly resentful as I watch Michael charm our friends with his understated humor and attentiveness. Everyone loves Michael. Reliable, thoughtful Michael who remembers birthdays and brings the perfect wine pairing to dinner parties. I'm in the kitchen, refilling my glass, when I overhear Kyle telling Michael about a promotion opportunity at work. You should definitely apply. Kyle says, with your experience, you'd be perfect. I don't know, Michael responds. It would mean more travel, longer hours. I'd have to talk to Olivia about it. I think, of course, he wouldn't just go for it. He has to analyze it to death first. Later, as the night winds down, the conversation turns to childhood memories. Kyle is telling a story about his strict but loving father teaching him to fish. My dad used to say, measure twice, cut once, Kyle laughs. Applies to more than just carpentry. What about you, Michael? Jenna asks. Any words of wisdom from your dad? A slight tension enters Michael's shoulders. So subtle only someone who knows him well would notice. Not really, he says lightly. He wasn't around much. Everyone at the table knows the basics. Michael's father abandoned the family when he was 8, reappearing occasionally over the years to make promises he never kept before disappearing for good when Michael was in college. But you turned out great anyway, Kyle says, raising his glass. Here's to breaking cycles. To breaking cycles, everyone echoes, except me. I'm too busy thinking about how Michael always clams up when his father is mentioned. On the ride home, I'm feeling restless and slightly drunk. Michael is quiet beside me in the Uber. You never talk about your dad, I say abruptly. Michael glances at me. Not much to say. There must be something. You must have feelings about him. I worked through those a long time ago, he says. Did you though? Because sometimes I think you're still affected by it. The way you plan everything, never take risks. Michael's jaw tightens slightly. This isn't a conversation for an Uber, Olivia. Fine, I say, slumping against the window. Avoid it like you avoid everything else. When we get home, I'm standing in our bedroom, kicking off my heels with more force than necessary. Michael leans against the doorframe, arms crossed. If you want to talk, let's talk, he says. Now you want to talk? I laugh, but there's no humor in it. You've been silent all night, because you've been drinking and picking fights. Oh, so I'm the problem? I feel heat rising to my face. I didn't say that, Michael replies, his voice still infuriatingly calm. But something's clearly bothering you, and taking it out on me isn't helping either of us. You know what's bothering me? I say, my voice rising. The fact that I'm married to someone who's afraid to live, who plans every minute of every day because God forbid something unexpected happens. Michael's expression hardened slightly. That's not fair, isn't it? When was the last time you did something spontaneous? Something that wasn't carefully calculated for maximum safety and minimum risk? Risk isn't inherently valuable, Olivia. Stability. Oh my God, if you say stability one more time, I'm going to scream. I interrupt. You know what? I'm beginning to understand why you are the way you are. Something in Michael's eyes changes. What does that mean? I know I should stop, but the whine and frustration push me forward. It means you're just like him, your father, running away from real emotion, real connection. At least he had the guts to actually leave. The moment the words leave my mouth, I know I've crossed a line. Michael goes completely still, his face draining of color. Michael, I start, suddenly horrified. I didn't. Yes, you did, he says, his voice unnervingly quiet. You meant exactly what you said. I step toward him. I'm sorry, I'm drunk and frustrated and cruel, he finishes for me. I never thought you could be cruel, Olivia. Before I can respond, he turns and walks out of the bedroom. I hear the guest room door close softly. I stand frozen, thinking, what did I just do? The next morning, I'm sitting at the kitchen table, nursing a cup of coffee and a crushing hangover. The events of last night play in my mind on repeat. I've never seen that look on Michael's face before, like I'd physically struck him. Michael enters the kitchen, already dressed in jeans and a t-shirt. He looks like he hasn't slept. Michael, about last night, I begin. I was drunk and upset. I didn't mean. Let me stop you there, he says, pouring himself coffee. You did mean it. Maybe not the comparison to my father, but the rest of it? That's how you really feel. No, it's not, I protest weakly. Isn't it? You're bored with me, with our life together. You've been making that clear for months. I shake my head. I'm just going through something. It's not about you. Except when you make it about me, he says. When you throw my father in my face as a weapon. Tears spring to my eyes. I'm sorry. I know that was terrible. It was, he agrees, and the lack of forgiveness in his voice scares me. I'm going out for a while. I need to think. I watch him grab his keys and wallet, thinking he'll cool off. He always does. But Michael doesn't come home that night, or the next. He responds to my increasingly frantic texts with brief messages saying he's staying with a friend and needs space. I vacillate between worry, guilt, and indignation. Yes, what I said was horrible, but does it really warrant this level of reaction? By day 3, I'm sitting on our couch, scrolling through photos of us on my phone. Happy, smiling faces from vacations, dinner parties, quiet evenings at home. When did I start taking those moments for granted? The front door opens, and I jump up, relief flooding through me. Michael, thank God. I've been so worried. He stands in the entryway, looking somehow different, more resolved. We need to talk, he says, and my stomach drops. I know, and I'm so sorry, I rush to say. What I said was inexcusable. I was drunk and lashing out, but that's no excuse. I know how much your father hurt you, and to compare you to him, it was cruel and untrue. Michael nods, but his expression doesn't soften. Yes, it was, but it made me realize something important. What? I ask, suddenly afraid of his answer. That this isn't working anymore. Us. I feel like the floor is tilting beneath me. What are you saying? Because of one fight? It's not one fight, Olivia. It's a pattern. You've been unhappy and taking it out on me instead of dealing with it honestly. And I've been enabling it by retreating instead of confronting the problem. So let's confront it now, I say desperately. Let's fix it. Michael sits down on the armchair, not the couch beside me. I've spent the last few days thinking about why your comment hurt so much, and it's because, somewhere deep down, I've always feared becoming like him. Unreliable, selfish. You're nothing like him, I say, tears streaming down my face now. I know that, he says with a certainty that surprises me. I've spent my life making sure of it, being dependable to a fault. And do you know what I realized? I deserve someone who values that about me, not someone who uses it as a weapon. I do value it, I insist. I was just being stupid, and you weren't being stupid, Olivia. You were being honest. You want excitement, spontaneity, drama, and that's not me. It never has been. I'm standing now, pacing. People say things they don't mean in fights. That doesn't mean we throw away our marriage. This isn't about one fight, Michael says again, his voice gentle but firm. It's about fundamental incompatibility that we've both been ignoring. You want someone different from who I am, and I deserve someone who wants me exactly as I am. I do want you, I cry, reaching for his hand. He lets me take it, but his touch is cool. No, you want a version of me that doesn't exist, and that's not fair to either of us. 2 weeks later, I'm sitting in my living room as Michael packs the last of his things. He's found an apartment downtown, closer to his office. He looks different somehow, lighter, despite the sadness in his eyes. Word has gotten around to our friends. Jenna came by yesterday, ostensibly to check on me, but I could tell from her awkward questions that she's heard Michael's side of the story. Have you thought about counseling? She asked carefully. He won't go, I replied bitterly. He says his mind is made up. Jenna's expression was complicated. I'm sorry, Liv, but maybe some time apart will help you both figure things out. But watching Michael now methodically packing books into boxes, I don't think he's interested in figuring things out. He's made a decision, and true to form, he's sticking to it. Do you need help with anything else? I ask, hovering uncertainly. No, this is the last of it, he says, taping the box closed. I've transferred my half of the mortgage payments through the end of the year. That should give you time to decide if you want to sell or try to refinance on your own. Always practical, always thinking ahead. The very qualities I'd mocked now making this transition smoother than it has any right to be. You don't have to do that, I say, pride mixing with gratitude. I know, but it's the right thing to do. As he carries the last box to his car, I follow him outside. Is this really it, after 6 years? Michael pauses, looking at our house, the house we chose together, painted together, made a home together. I think it has to be, he says quietly. We both deserve better than what we've become. I can change, I say, hating how desperate I sound. Maybe, he acknowledges, but not for me. That never works. He hugs me briefly, and I cling to him, inhaling his familiar scent. Then he gets in his car and drives away. Over the next 3 months, I cycle through grief, anger, bargaining, and denial. I text Michael late at night after too much wine, alternately apologizing and accusing. He responds less and less until eventually his replies become formal and distant. I'm at a coffee shop near my office, scrolling mindlessly through social media when a mutual friend's post stops me cold. It's a photo from some charity event, and there's Michael smiling broadly, his arm around a woman I don't recognize. She's pretty in an understated way, curly hair, minimal makeup, genuine smile. I nearly dropped my phone, heart pounding. He's moved on. Already. That evening, I'm on Jenna's couch, sobbing into a glass of wine. 3 months. It took him 3 months to replace me. Jenna hands me a tissue. I don't think he's replacing you, Liv. From what Kyle says, she's just someone he met at work. They've only been on a few dates. Kyle knew, I demand. And he didn't tell me? Jenna sighs. Kyle is friends with both of you. He's in an awkward position. So everyone's just accepting that Michael's moved on and I'm what? The villain in this story? No one thinks you're a villain, Jenna says, but she doesn't quite meet my eyes. But people were shocked by what you said to him, about his father. I cover my face with my hands. I said one terrible thing in a moment of anger. Does that erase 6 years of marriage? I don't think it was just one thing, though, was it? Jenna asks gently. From what Kyle said, Michael felt like you'd been unhappy with him for a long time. That comment was just the breaking point. I want to argue, but deep down, I know she's right. I'd been taking Michael for granted, comparing him unfavorably to more exciting, less reliable men, punishing him for the very qualities that had attracted me to him in the first place. 6 months after Michael moved out, I'm standing in front of my house, watching a realtor hammer a for sale sign into the front yard. I couldn't afford the mortgage on my own, not with my marketing job that pays less than Michael's engineering position. I check my phone compulsively, but there are no messages from him. Through mutual friends, I've learned that he's thriving. He got that promotion Kyle mentioned at the dinner party, the one that requires travel. He's dating the woman from the charity event picture. Her name is Rebecca, and she's a pediatric nurse. He's joined a rock climbing gym, started learning Spanish. It's like divorce has unleashed a version of Michael I never knew existed, or perhaps never allowed to exist. The irony isn't lost on me. I left him because I thought he was too predictable, too safe. Now he's living the adventurous life I always claimed to want, while I'm drowning in regret and box wine. The last time I saw him was at the lawyer's office, signing divorce papers. He looked good, tan from a recent trip to Costa Rica, more muscular from the rock climbing, a quiet confidence in his movements. "You look well," I said, hating how formal we'd become. "Thanks," he replied. "You too." But I wasn't. I'd lost weight, not in a healthy way. Dark circles had taken up permanent residence under my eyes. My friends had started to drift away, tired of my bitterness and self-pity. "I heard about your promotion," I tried again. "Congratulations." "Thank you." He signed his name with a steady hand. "I heard you might be selling the house." "Can't afford it on my own," I admitted. "Plus, too many memories." He nodded, understanding in his eyes but no regret. "You'll find somewhere new, a fresh start." When all the papers were signed, we stood awkwardly in the parking lot. "Well," he said, "I wish you the best, Olivia. I really do." "Michael," I said, unable to stop myself, "do you ever think about trying again, now that some time has passed?" His expression was kind but resolute. "No, I've moved on, and I hope you do too." Now, a year after that fateful fight, I'm sitting in my small apartment, scrolling through social media again, a bad habit I can't seem to break. There's a new post from Kyle. Michael on one knee, proposing to Rebecca on a beach at sunset. Her hands are covering her mouth in surprise and joy. The caption reads, "She said yes." Couldn't be happier for these two. The comments are a flood of congratulations. Jenna's, Kyle's, colleagues, and friends we once shared. Everyone's celebrating Michael's happiness with this woman I've never met. I close the app and stare at my reflection in the dark screen. In one unguarded, cruel moment, I shattered something precious. I compared the most reliable, loving man I've ever known to the father who abandoned him. The worst insult I could have chosen. And in doing so, I set him free. Michael once told me that his greatest fear was becoming like his father. What he never realized was that he was already the opposite in every way that mattered. Dependable when his father was flaky, present when his father was absent, loving when his father was cold. I was too blinded by a misguided desire for excitement to see what I had. I mistook his steadiness for boredom, his reliability for lack of passion. I pushed away the very qualities that made him exceptional. Now he's found someone who appreciates those qualities, who doesn't view his thoughtfulness as a character flaw, who probably never compares him to the father who wounded him so deeply. I set my phone down and walked to the window of my small apartment. Somewhere across the city, Michael is celebrating his engagement, building a new life that doesn't include me, and I'm left with the consequences of my actions, the echo of words I can never take back, and the knowledge that sometimes the most painful revenge is simply moving on to happiness without looking back.